This is a video review for the Cuisinart ice cream maker. I've had this for a couple of years and I use it probably 2 to 3 times a month and it's still going strong. I've not had any problems with it whatsoever. This is a really sturdy beast. You can get lots of different ice cream makers for a lot less money than this, I have to say, but this really is probably one of the better domestic models that you can get. It is quite large. It's going to take up a lot of room in your cupboard. It's going to take up a lot of room on your work surface. It's also very heavy. It's not the kind of thing that you want to be picking up and lugging around very often. It's got 2 carry handles on, one either side. You can just pop your hands underneath, but it is extremely heavy. I find it, quite a challenge to lift it up and carry it around. Now, the main body is made in brushed stainless steel, which means it's easy to keep clean. It also looks really contemporary and nice. I really like the look of it. You've also, as well as the main body, got the motorised handle. That is made of some kind of a lacquered, I'm not really sure what it is, some kind of a plastic, I think. But it does match fairly well to the main body. That attaches on underneath via a 2-pin plug. You've also then got the actual ice cream making bit itself. You've got the lid that stops anything getting into it and holds the mixer blade in place. And then you've got the bowl. The bowl fits extremely closely into here. There's not a lot of room. The reason for that is because as the machine chills the outside, it's obviously got to come into contact with the bowl. That's the ice cream bowl. As you can see, it's not that large. For the recipes that I use, I tend to have to do 2 complete batches because I've got too much mixture to put into one batch. And what you don't want to do is fill this too full, because if you fill it right to the top, not only does it spill over, it also doesn't freeze it very well. So I find it's better to do 2 smaller batches than 1 large one. You've got a timer on the front. When you switch it on, the little red light goes on, and that times up to 60 minutes. When I make a batch, I usually put it on full, but what happens is as the ice cream gets thicker, the blade stops rotating when it gets too thick. It just can't get through it, so it doesn't always reach the 60 minutes. Sometimes with some mixtures I put it on again for a little bit longer, but the majority of ice creams I make, I tend to turn off around about 50 minutes and then scoot them out and put them into a Tupperware container and put them in the freezer just to finish off. Now, besides being heavy, the other major downside of this is the amount of noise that this makes. It is very noisy, really, while it's running, and you do need to be aware of that. I don't find it a problem. I tend to just leave it in the kitchen and go off and do other things. But it is probably significantly louder than you would expect from something like this. I'll put it on later on so that you can have a listen. Now, the bowl slots into place. There are 2 little grooves here where the handle just slots in. And then you have to be quite careful how you put the lid and the paddle on. I had terrible trouble when I first got this, working out how to actually get the motor to sit correctly. And the first few times the motor was sort of jiggling all over the place, and the reason being that I hadn't attached this properly. Now, if you have a look at the lid, you've got a sort of opening here, and you need to slot that. And it's a bit fiddly when this bowl's full. There's a little groove here on the handle, and that has to slot in and then slot against here. Now, that's how it slots in. The problem is when you actually put the lid back on, it sometimes works loose again. So it can be a bit of a fiddle just to get it set up. Once it's set up with your ice cream in there, it works absolutely fine. So you've got your ice cream in there, you've got your paddle, you then pop the motorised bit back on there so that the 2 pins fit on, and you have to get this to fit onto here. And again, if this is full, that can be a bit of a fiddle, and sometimes I've got to admit what I have done is I've assembled this outside of the ice cream maker and then put it on afterwards, but it can be a bit of a messy job. So that's what I mean about assembling it outside. I find this tends to work easier. You just have to be careful how you then put it back on, and then just get this to slot back down. Once you've done that, this is really sturdy and it won't move. But if you don't get that right in the first place, it doesn't make the ice cream very well, and it makes an even worse noise, almost like a sort of a graunching noise once it thickens up. So I've just made a batch of raspberry ice cream mixture, and there is no way that is all going to fit into there and still leave room for the mixer. So I'm going to have to do at least 2, possibly even 3 batches. So I've roughly just over half filled this. You can probably go up to about 3/4. I wouldn't put a lot more in there. To be honest, if you're going to do 2 batches, then I would leave it a half and half, so that it will chill faster. Obviously, the less mixture in there, the quicker it is to chill down. So I've got the ice cream in, I've got the lid on, I've got the motor on, but it's switched off. So whoops, you can hear how noisy it is. I'm just going to switch the timer on, let you have a listen to how noisy it actually is, and then let it chill, and I'll show you the ice cream when it comes out. Right, so here's the ice cream 50 minutes later. It's not as solid as ice cream that you would buy out of the shop, and if you like your ice cream fairly solid, which I do, I tend to put this into the freezer for an hour or so, a couple of hours. But you can certainly eat this straight from the machine like that, and this is the most delicious ice cream I think I've ever tasted. It's absolutely gorgeous. So overall, quite an expensive machine, quite a big, heavy, noisy machine, but it makes the most delicious ice cream that I've ever tasted. It works reliably, it is easy to use, it's easy to keep clean, it looks great. I've been using it, as I say, for the last couple of years without any problem whatsoever, and I really would not be without this. I absolutely love it.